This is Eric, and welcome back again to ASMR Comics. So today I thought we would take a look at an Iron Man comics haul that I picked up from my local comic book shop. They have an online auction that they host during the pandemic every Monday, and I think it's pretty cool. You know, they get some books from the shop and they go live on social media, and then we get to comment and make our purchases that way, and then they bill us and then we pay for it. So it works pretty well. They've been doing this for a couple of weeks now, and I end up buying something every time, which is fun. But I'm not sure how many more online auctions I can go to. So what I thought I would do today is just go through. I bought this Iron Man. It's not really a run because I have incomplete story arcs in here and things like that. But it was just a batch of Iron Man comics that they sold in this online auction, and there are a couple of cool things. I really bought this lot just for one book, which I'm going to go over and show us. But there's some fun things in some of the other books too. I'm going to run through. I'm going to try something a little different this time. I'm going to go through each of the comics, and I'm going to read a very brief summary of what each of the comics is about, and then I'm just going to really show us 1, 2, 3. I'm really just going to open up 3 of the books that we have here to actually talk about them and things like that. The rest I'll keep in the bag and board. So let me stack these up. Yeah, we have issue. We'll go backwards here. We have issue 125, 124, which I'd like to talk about. 123, 122, 121, 120, 120, I'm sorry, 119, 118, and then 117. So we'll start with this one. Again, I'm going to keep it in the bag and board, but it's called, you can see it's The Invincible Iron Man, The Spy Who Killed Me. Sounds a little James Bond inspired, right? So this is, again, Iron Man 117, called The Spy Who Killed Me. And the description goes, after the tumultuous events of last issue, the last thing Tony Stark needs is a spy at Stark International. Or perhaps, more specifically, a spy master. But the armored Avengers' plan for R&R is shattered when Spy Master assassinates the Tony Stark LMD. In quick response, Iron Man chases the Spy Master across Stark International's Long Island headquarters and finally catches him near the airfield. Will Shell-Ed show his adversary who is the true master? It's the first appearance of Bethany Gabe and a cameo appearance by Nick Fury. So there it is, the Spy Who Killed Me. Okay, next is Iron Man 118, and this is a cover that I love. There's Tony Stark just being thrown out of what's the helicarrier, visits the SHIELD helicarrier for a NATO conference, but rogue agents throw him out over the skies of Western Europe. Fortunately, as shown on the terrific cover, Tony has his briefcase with him, but can he change into his armor in time? Cameo appearances by Mrs. Arbogast and Bethany Cabe. So, of course, Tony Stark is going somewhere. The bad guys find him, and they throw him above Western Europe, and he has to try to grasp for his armor. Do you think he gets it on? Yeah, he does. But we'll go through this in a few minutes after we go through the rest of these. And here is Invincible Iron Man 119. This one's kind of neat because I think it's the helicarrier strays off and goes into Russian territory, and this is, like it says, back in the USSR. This is from Cold War times. So these, I guess, these threats and conflicts and imaginary scenarios weren't really that imaginary. But here's the description for 119. The title is No Shield to Protect Me, and SHIELD, of course, is the acronym. Part 2 of 2. It says the SHIELD helicarrier has drifted into Soviet airspace, and Russian MiGs are on the way to shoot it down. Everyone on board the helicarrier is unconscious, except for the invincible Iron Man. So in dazzling fashion, the Golden Avenger zooms into action and knocks out 4 fighter jets and 2 ballistic missiles. Awesome. Shellhead saves the day for SHIELD, but a few hours later, why does Tony regret having done so? So, later on I want to show you the MiG jets and their attack and things like that. So we'll come back to that. And here we have Iron Man number 120. The Submariner strikes. The more each second we waste fighting brings an innocent man closer to death. So this is again 120. It's the first appearance of Justin Hammer in The Old Man in the Sea, Part 1 of 2. Guest starring the Submariner. Plot by David Michelini and Bob Layton. It goes on to say that during his trip back to the States, Tony Stark's 747 is struck in midair by a flying tank. Whoa, where did that come from? Apparently it was thrown from the ground by the Submariner. The Golden Avenger will deal with Prince Namor in a minute. But first, he must stop his airliner from crashing into the ocean. Don't worry, Shellhead. The Avenging Sun will wait. Cameo appearances by Bethany Cabe and Jim Rhodes. Rhodey. That's 120. Here we have 121. A Ruse by Any Other Name. That's the title of this one. Against Part 2 of 2. The Prince of Atlantis pulls a drowning Iron Man from the ocean after his armor unexpectedly malfunctions. Once Shellhead regains his senses, he compares notes with Namor, and both heroes realize they've been duped. The real enemy is Roxxon Oil, and its plan to steal vibranium from an uncharted Atlantic island. With help from Bethany and Rhodey, the Golden Avenger and the Submariner join forces to run Roxxon into the sea. It's the first appearance of Jonas Hale. That looks kind of cool. He's like pulling back. Looks like the muzzle of a tank, right? up is Iron Man 122. In the beginning, let me switch my pages here. I have some notes. Okay, number 122, Journey. The invincible Iron Man is finally on his way home to New York, and along the way, Tony Stark reflects on how it all began in the jungles of Vietnam several years ago. Meanwhile, Justin Hammer moves on to the next phase of his plan to destroy Stark International. The story also retells Iron Man's origin, and there are cameo appearances by the Submariner, Bethany Gabe, and Jim Rhodes. So there it is, Iron Man Journey. And here we have Iron Man 123. I like this cover too because they're all on a roulette wheel. This begins, I believe, a story arc where they're in Atlantic City, New Jersey. So it's I think it's again has like a Casino Royale type of feel to it. This is 123, Pieces of Hate. Okay, and it goes on to say, the treacherous triad of the Blizzard, Melter, and Whiplash has Shellhead on the ropes in Atlantic City Casino, but Lady Luck, in the form of Bethany Gabe, tips the scales in the Armored Avenger's favor. After his rousing victory, the Golden Avenger returns to Long Island and attends a special UN reception for the ambassador of Cornelia. The ambassador is a huge Iron Man fan and requests to take a picture with him. However, disaster strikes when Shellhead's repulsor ray misfires during the photo op, and nothing will ever be the same again. Cameo appearances by Justin Hammer. Alright, there's a little repulsor mishap. And here we have number 124. Yeah, there's the action in Atlantic City. I kind of like this cover too. The overturned poker table and the roulette wheel and I guess these dead guys in the front. So this is 124, Pieces of Hate. Oh, wait a minute. Didn't I just read that? Oh, I read the wrong one. Well, look at that. I read the wrong description for the wrong comic. Okay, so I guess what I'll do is I'll just bring this one back as well. So this one is supposed to be called Casino Fatale, and this one is Pieces of Hate. So I'll read the Casino Fatale one now, even though I read the other one just before. So Casino Fatale. Good thing this is for relaxation. So it says, after conducting an all-systems test of his armor, Tony takes Beth to Atlantic City for an evening of fun at his favorite casino. However, a trio of Iron Man's familiar foes is there too. When Shellhead and his lady hit the tables, the Blizzard, Melter, and Whiplash hit the vault. Will the Golden Avenger roll double sixes versus his old adversaries, or come up Snake Eyes instead? Snake Eyes. Cameo appearances by Jim Shooter, Al Milgram, and Roger Stern. So again, that's for this comic, number 123, and 124 was the one I read earlier, about the misfiring repulsor. That makes sense if you look at the cover, right? So there are those two. says the Monaco Prelude, Part 3 of 5. Guest starring Captain America and Ant-Man. In a shocking development, Iron Man killed the Carnelian ambassador with an inadvertent repulsor ray blast last issue. I guess we know how that one turned out. And now Tony Stark must hand over his armor to the police and figure out what to do next. With assistance from Ant-Man and the Sentinel of Liberty, Tony learns that a mysterious man in Monaco is responsible for the deadly malfunction of his armor. So the Golden Avenger and Rhodey fly to Monte Carlo to clear Iron Man's name. This won't be Tony's typical vacation on the French Riviera. Cameo appearances by the Beast, the Falcon, Ms. Marvel, Vision, Wasp, Whiplash, Ed Koch, I guess the former mayor of New York City, Ed Koch. I'd like to check that out. Bethany Gabe and Justin Hammer. So those are the issues, and what I'd like to do is I'd like us to go over just some of these issues, just to take a look at. Let's start with number 118. So again, this cover is really cool. I like this cover a lot, but this book has the first appearance of Rhodey in it. So let's take a look at that. And here we are. Of course, we're in Iron Man's lab, where he manufactures his armor. And he's packing it up in that suitcase, which comes in handy later on. Some advertisements. And really, here it is. It's a pretty low-key introduction to Rhodey. Tony Stark's basically walking to his helicopter to fly to this NATO conference, and Rhodey's the pilot. Doesn't really say much about him. You can't even really tell, I don't think, if he is just a helicopter pilot or if he's in the military or what. You really can't tell. So in this scene right here, Rhodey is supposed to be the pilot. Looks like he has the helicopter already and juiced up. And then Tony Stark basically relieves him and says that he wants to keep his skills sharp and he's going to fly himself. So it's really just a introduction to Rhodey, and then thumbs up. Okay, see ya. And I think that's the last time you really see him in this issue. Let's see if we can flip through. There's the helicarrier. Got this NATO meeting. There's Tony flying in. And it looks more like a balloon, doesn't it? But it's the SHIELD helicarrier. Oh, look, Star Wars. Star Wars advertisements, action figures, radio-controlled R2-D2, Star Wars rings, pendants. Let's see, where does he get thrown out? Oh, I might have got one page too fast. Alright, there he is. Yeah, these guys, bad guys, take him and throw him out right there. He's flying out. Jaws 2. BB gun advertisements and comic books. I'm not sure is Iron Man, Tony Stark, getting thrown out, trying to find and get to his briefcase and get his armor on. And of course, feet off the ground, he's able to get it on just in time and pull right up. Good for him. There's nothing more comic book classic than those types of, what is it? Automatopoeia, when the words are sounds, when the sounds are words. That's probably not it, but reminds me of that. They try to mirror what the fight or the explosion would sound like. And we're not going to go through too much of this. Oh, toy soldiers. There's something that I think my parents had as kids, my father had a kid, I had them as a kid, but they just don't exist anymore, I don't think. My kids have never had them, and now they never will, because they're too old for toys like this, most of them, but this is pretty comical too. Legos were good back then, and they're still good now. I also wanted to show Iron Man 124. So let's see, pieces of 8. Go through some of this. That's Shrugalash. It's an interesting one. Fruit stripe gum. I still love fruit stripe gum. Tastes awesome for like 12 seconds. There we go. A lot of ice action on these pages. Pete Rose batting practice. Once again, I think, I'm not sure what year exactly this comic is, but might not see too many advertisements in kids' magazines for Pete Rose either. It's funny. Isn't it funny how time can change things? Wow, now look at this. Speaking of how time can change things, here we wear spot built just like OJ, and that's OJ Simpson. Once again, so in the past 2 comics we're looking at, we've had an advertisement for BB guns, which I have nothing against. I owned a BB gun when I was a kid, but again, just wondering if that would be something that would be in kids' comic books nowadays. We had an advertisement with Pete Rose, I guess, as the celebrity role model for kids. And now we have an advertisement with O.J. Simpson as the celebrity role model for the advertising company here. So there's something entertaining about that, I think. There's Tony Stark and lavish office. Flip around a little bit. I'm not really sure. It looks like they're at the United Nations. Maybe they're thanking him for saving the day again. I used to love these. Here is one of these. They still do it now, where they would have an advertisement, and it looks like a comic book page, so it fits right in. But this is for Hostess Fruit Pies. I used to absolutely love these things. It's like a really sugary crust filled with apple pie filling, but I mean the sugar is just off the charts. was younger, I saw them in the store not too long ago, and they seemed absolutely tiny. So I wonder if they've changed that. Like everything, you know. Another Daisy advertisement. Oh, you know what? There was something else in this run of comics that I thought was kind of neat. Let me see. I go back to 119. Let me see. Going through 120, 121, 119. Where's my 120? 120. 119. 120, 121. Okay, so it's right here then. 120, 121, or 122. So right here, you can see this was the last issue at the 35-cent price. This is 121, 35 cents. And then there's a price adjustment over here. This is the next issue, 122, and it's 40 cents. So again, it's kind of neat. I like to have those kind of unique, or it's not really unique at all, but it's something. and we'll go with that right there for the something. And then as the last book I wanted to flip through just a little bit was the Back in the USSR. Here's Iron Man, fighting back against those MiGs. And again, this is back in the Cold War, and while of course I certainly don't support or don't want to see countries at war with each other or tensions high or anything like that, I will say having grown up in this time period, the rivalry, the level of competition and superiority races between the United States and the USSR really made for some good entertainment